Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and I blog over at thefrugalcottage.com all about budgeting, money saving, investing and lots of things in between. And welcome to my channel, thanks for joining me, and I hope you've had a good week. I thought I'd share with you today my spends for the first week of March. It's not going quite as well as the start of February, but that doesn't matter, we've still got a long way to go, haven't we, until the end of the month. So I thought I would share with you what's happening so far. As always, I track everything in my budget planner and I'll leave a link below to this if you want to check that out. That's available to download on my blog. And this is the system that has absolutely transformed our finances. If you're not new here, then you will hear me say that all the time, and I genuinely do mean that it has changed our finances. Anyway, let's look at March. So I'll skip this first page. This is just our direct debits page really, and the budget. I've not put anything in sinking funds yet. So my no spend days so far. So this month I've done slightly differently. So if I just flip back to February, I designed this, which I used coloured in instead, but I have quite a lot of little star stickers. Now last year, for the entire year, I used these star stickers, but I've now been left with like just odd numbers of the different colours and nothing that would make up enough. So like, say I couldn't do all of the no spend days in gold, for example, because I don't have enough, but I also want to use them up at the same time. There's no point in them just sitting in my desk. So I decided this month I'd go back to using this one and use the star stickers up as I go along, and hopefully that will mean by the end of the month I have used most of them. So far in March I've only had 4 no spend days, and it is the 7th today when I'm filming this. So I've had 3 spend days so far, and tomorrow will also be one. So like I said, in terms of kind of the start of the month, it's not quite as good as I had hoped. However, obviously there's still a long way to go, and my aim is 20, so I've got to find 16 more if I'm going to hit my target. So just need to bear that in mind. Maybe next week will be better. We went to soft play on Tuesday, and then I've had to pay for gymnastics today, and obviously tomorrow will be our normal shopping day, as Sundays always are. So kind of keeping that in mind going forward into next week, but I'm okay with that for now, I think. And moving on to the expense tracker. Now this is one of the most important things in this budget planner, is the expense tracker. I also like to colour code my categories so that I can see at a glance which ones we kind of spend more in, which ones maybe we spend less in. But it's up to you how you do that. The most important thing, and you need to find the system that works for you, is to track your money, whether it's pen and paper like me. I'm a big fan of pen and paper and writing things out. I think it's much more kind of valuable if you're writing something down. I feel like when I'm like filling in, because I do also have a spreadsheet version that I kind of update as well, but not as often. I do feel like if you're just typing on a laptop, it is not the same, it does not feel the same as when you're physically writing the stuff out. That's just how I feel. Obviously you find out, you figure out what the best version for you is, but I do recommend trying this if you haven't done the writing out version. Anyway, as you can see from the expense tracker, there are more like transactions, if you like, this first week than there have been in previous weeks in the start, but again, that's okay. Food kind of cropped up slightly more than normal. I've been 3 times this week. The 2 trips to Asda were for kind of little things. We seem to go through, so for this one for example, I know that I bought strawberries and blueberries because we seem to eat those ridiculously quickly, and I like to have fruit in that the boys will eat, and I, you know, that the food budget's there for a reason. It's fine, I'm okay with that. Soft play was ridiculously expensive, in the sense that it was all 4 of us, we all 4 got food while we were there and drinks and stuff, and it just, what seems like a really good kind of trip to somewhere, it always seems to be more expensive than I think. And I think that one of the main reasons for that is you're not allowed to take your own food and drinking. Now I understand why that is, it's a business, they're making money, but I don't know, it always seems a bit weird. Like, so like one of our boys, the younger one, does not like anything apart from water. He doesn't drink squash, he doesn't drink, he doesn't drink like fruit juice, which in one way I'm really pleased about. But then when you go to somewhere like that and you have to buy a bottle of water because you can't even take like his little cup with some tap water in, it's just a bit frustrating. However, they had an absolutely amazing time. We were there for like 3 hours. They were absolutely shattered, but they love going, and I don't begrudge that at all. Although when I'm there I do, because getting round the soft play is it's quite an effort after a while, and it is not made for adults, so there are some fairly small spaces to squeeze through. And my 4-year-old is really impatient because he doesn't understand that I cannot get around there as quickly as he does. But we had a really good time. They had a really good time, and they're the kind of little things that are lovely to do, and hopefully they'll remember as they get on. Gymnastics this morning. So gymnastics fees are monthly for those. £18 for a whole month doesn't seem too bad, so I'm okay with that. I've no idea. To be fair, I've got nothing to compare that to. I don't know whether that's expensive or not, but £18 for a month is fine by me, and he loves going. He's got some lovely friends in that little class. So we'll keep that going as long as he wants to keep that going for. And then Asda, again for some food, we're going to have a movie night tonight. I'm filming this on Saturday, so I've been to get some popcorn and some other little snacks for that. So that'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. I've also got some hot cross buns because aren't they good with a cup of tea? So that's the expense tracker for the first week. I'm okay with how that looks. Again, I really like my colour coded kind of way of visualising that, but that's just me. And then turning over, I haven't opened on these. So the weekly check-in page is probably going to look quite small. Is my camera going to let me zoom in today without too many issues? I think that's about as much as it's going to let me go. So food this week, even though I've popped a couple of times to Asda in between things, so my normal shop is at Morrison's. I just prefer it. The food there is good. It's relatively cheap in comparison to, say, Sainsbury's, because we've also got a Sainsbury's in the town where we live. And I also get the petrol there, and the petrol there is the cheapest near us, so I'm okay with that. But Asda's just around the corner, so it's easier to get to on a night, for example. But even though I've popped there twice and gone to Morrison's, the food spend for this week is only £48.45, which I am more than happy with, which leaves us £201 and 55 pence remaining. I'm okay with that. I think that's kind of a good starting point. I was reading a news article yesterday about how you should have 2 weeks worth of food in your house, just in case you have to self-isolate. I know for a fact we do not have 2 weeks worth of food in our house. It's not the system we do. If you've read my blog, you'll know that I'm a big fan of meal planning and zero food waste. And the reason why that works is that we buy what we need and we don't buy any extra. However, I'm trying not to buy into the kind of panic mode of following everyone else. I do not intend to buy particularly any more tomorrow when I go food shopping, but we'll see. I might get a couple of extra like things of milk or some tins of things. I'll be totally honest, I'm not worried about the self-isolating thing. I don't think, touch wood, it will kind of get to us, but we'll see. But I'm definitely not buying like 100 toilet rolls, for example, because regardless of that and the cost, I don't have any room to put those, so just keeping it normal for now, so to speak. Petrol, what a ridiculous number that is. So I spent £18.39 on petrol this week. I put in £30 into my petrol envelope every week, and I, at the moment, am going nowhere near that. And I can't quite work out why. So I don't think petrol prices have gone down, or not. They've definitely not gone down enough to make that much of a difference. Maybe I'm just not using the car as much, but then I can't work out why I wouldn't be doing that either. Anyway, I'm not complaining, although it's a bit of an annoying number. That leaves £101.61 in the petrol budget still remaining. Miscellaneous is slightly higher than normal for a week, £32.53. I needed things like cat food and what else did we buy? Nappies and it was at my teapot as well, like really random things that kind of all run out at once. I talk about it often, it happens all the time, so everything seems to just run out at the same time, so you have to kind of buy more of like householdy things. But that leaves us £67.47 in that budget, so I'm not worried about that. And the children, so that's £38.50 is soft play and gymnastics. I've included all food and all entry fees and everything within the soft play children's budget, because let's be honest, that's not somewhere you choose to go if you did not have children, so it comes out of their budget. And that leaves that with £61.50 in there remaining, which is fine for them for now. And that's what I've spent this week so far. I feel like we're kind of getting on, it's kind of just becoming the norm, so it's not even like I have to think overly so about kind of not spending, does that make sense? And the no spend year is just kind of confirming the fact that over time this spending, the tracking, the cash envelopes just becomes like the normality, and you don't have to overthink it and you don't have to keep going over things. And I've had a couple of messages on Facebook about if I'm missing spending money now, because obviously we're kind of in the third month in, the novelty probably has worn off, and yes it has, but you know, there's a lot to be said to not have the pressure to spend money. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I don't have to make any decisions about anything because we're not doing it. I don't have to go clothes shopping, which I absolutely hate with a passion, because I'm not buying any more clothes. I don't need any more clothes. The only thing, and I've mentioned this before, that I'm missing is my takeaway coffee, but again, the longer I go without those, the easier that's becoming to kind of go, you know what, I don't think I need them. I have coffee at home quite often, I have coffee at work. It's obviously not the same, it isn't the same, but the longer that goes off, the more okay I'm becoming with that. I'm not missing takeaways at all. In fact, if you watch my February budget, I kind of slipped up and had one, and it was such a disappointment. And yeah, it was, as soon as I finished it, I was like, that wasn't worth breaking my no spend rules, and it definitely wasn't worth the money I paid for it. And yeah, I'm not even missing those. Although I could have eaten a chippy tea yesterday. But apart from that, I'm not at all. So I'm really pleased with how it's going. I'm really pleased about how I feel about my finances. And I'm someone who really likes the controlling aspect. So if I feel in control of my finances, like I do with this, like I do with filling in my expense tracker, like I do with the no spend days, the more I feel content, if you like, in other areas of my life at the same time. So that is what I have spent for the first week in March, continuing our no spend year and feeling pretty good about it. Now, like I said, this budget planner is available to download on my site. I will leave a link down below for that. Thank you for watching as always. I hope you've had a great week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.